The cold darkness of space stretched endlessly around the three Zephyrian scout ships as they moved through the outer reaches of the solar system. Commander Vexthal sat in his command chair, his gray skin glowing softly under the blue lights of the bridge. His large black eyes scanned the displays showing the alien star system they had just entered. This was supposed to be an easy mission. Find the primitive humans, count their weapons, and report back to the Empire. Commander, we are approaching the fourth planet from the star, reported his navigation officer. The planet appears to be red in color and shows no signs of life. Vexthal nodded. The Empire had done this many times before. They would scout a system, find weak civilizations, and then send the war fleets to conquer them. It was always the same. Primitive beings with simple weapons who could not fight back against the Empire's advanced technology. Activate the stealth fields, Vexthal ordered. We will observe from a distance first. The three scout ships became invisible as their cloaking devices engaged. They had used this technology to scout dozens of worlds. No primitive species had ever detected them before. The humans would be no different. Far away on the human defense station orbiting Mars, Captain Jake Morrison sat at his command console, drinking coffee. The station was one of many that humans had built throughout their solar system. Jake had been watching the deep space sensors for 6 hours, looking for anything unusual. It was boring work, but someone had to do it. Captain, I'm getting some strange readings near Jupiter, said Lieutenant Amy Foster from her position at the tactical station. She was young and had only been assigned to the Mars station 3 months ago. The sensors are picking up something, but it keeps disappearing. Jake put down his coffee and walked over to Amy's station. He looked at the display showing the outer solar system. There were indeed strange signals appearing and disappearing near Jupiter. They were very faint, almost like shadows. Could be space debris, Jake said, but he did not sound convinced. Keep monitoring it. If it happens again, let me know immediately. On Earth, General Nathan Brooks stood in the command center of the United Earth Defense Force. The room was filled with officers working at computer stations, monitoring the entire solar system. Nathan had been preparing for this day for 20 years. He knew that someday aliens would come to Earth. The question was not if, but when. General, we have reports of unusual sensor readings from the Mars station, reported Colonel Lisa Hayes. She was Nathan's second in command and had been with him since the beginning of the defense program. It might be nothing, but Captain Morrison thinks we should investigate. Nathan nodded. For 2 decades, humans had been building weapons and training soldiers in secret. They had prepared for the day when aliens would arrive. Most people on Earth did not know about the massive military buildup. They thought the governments were just spending money on space exploration. Send the alert to all stations, Nathan ordered. Condition yellow. I want every sensor in the system watching for unusual activity. Back in space, the Zephyrian scouts moved closer to the inner planets. Commander Vexthal was confident that their stealth technology would keep them hidden. They had conquered 47 worlds using the same tactics. Scout the enemy, find their weaknesses, and then attack with overwhelming force. Commander, we are detecting multiple artificial structures throughout this system, reported Scout Captain Zarketh from the second ship. There are installations on several moons and asteroids. This is unusual for a primitive species. Vexthal looked at the data coming from his ships. The humans had built many structures in space, but that was not necessarily a sign of military strength. Many species built space stations for mining or research. Continue the mission, Vexthal ordered. We need to get closer to their homeworld to assess their military capabilities. The alien ships moved past Mars, heading toward Earth. Their sensors began detecting more and more human structures. There were stations orbiting every planet, even the small ones. There were also structures built into asteroids and hidden behind moons. On the Mars station, Amy Foster watched her sensors with growing concern. The strange readings were getting stronger as they moved closer to Earth. She had never seen anything like it before. Captain Morrison, you need to see this, Amy called out. The readings are definitely not space debris. They're moving in formation, and they're heading toward Earth. Jake quickly returned to Amy's station. The display now showed 3 distinct objects moving through space. They appeared and disappeared on the sensors, but their course was clear. They were alien ships. Sound. "The alert," Jake ordered. "Contact Earth Defense Command immediately. We have incoming bogies." Alarms began ringing throughout the Mars station. Officers ran to their battle stations as the station prepared for possible combat. This was what they had trained for, but nobody expected it to happen so soon. On Earth, General Nathan Brooks received the alert from Mars within minutes. He stood in the command center watching as reports came in from stations throughout the solar system. The moment he had been preparing for had finally arrived. "All stations report ready status," Nathan announced to his staff. "Begin Phase 1 of the defense protocol." Across the solar system, human military installations that had been hidden for decades began to activate. Secret bases built inside asteroids powered up their weapons. Hidden shipyards released fleets of warships that had been waiting in the shadows. Soldiers who had trained their entire lives for alien invasion moved to their positions. The Zephyrian scouts were now close enough to Earth to begin detailed scans of the planet. What they found confused them. The planet was covered with military installations. Every continent had multiple army bases, naval ports, and air force stations. The number of weapons was staggering. "Commander, these readings cannot be correct," reported Zarketh. "No single planet could maintain this level of military infrastructure. Our sensors must be malfunctioning." Vexithal studied the data carefully. If the readings were accurate, the humans had more military bases than some entire star systems in the Empire. But that was impossible. Primitive species did not build such extensive military forces. "Run a full diagnostic on all sensors," Vexthal ordered. "There must be an error in our equipment." But the sensors were working perfectly. The humans had indeed built the largest military force the Zephyrian scouts had ever encountered. Every continent on Earth bristled with weapons. The oceans were filled with warships. The skies were patrolled by aircraft that the aliens had never seen before. Lieutenant Kevin Torres was piloting a reconnaissance fighter near the moon when his instruments detected something unusual. A brief energy signature appeared on his screen, for just a moment before disappearing. He immediately reported it to his commander. "Control, this is Recon 7. I have a possible contact near the moon. Energy signature is unlike anything in our database." On Earth, the report was quickly passed, up the chain of command. General Nathan Brooks now had confirmation that alien ships were in the solar system. The defense plan that had taken 20 years to develop was about to be tested. "Gentlemen," Nathan announced to his staff, "this is not a drill. We have alien visitors, and they are not here for a friendly chat. Begin Phase 2 of the defense protocol." The Zephyrian scouts continued their approach to Earth, unaware that they had already been detected. They believed their stealth technology made them invisible to human sensors. They had no idea that the humans had been expecting them for decades and had prepared accordingly. As the alien ships moved closer to Earth, they were about to discover that humanity was not the primitive species they had expected to find. The Zephyrian scout ships moved silently through the space between Mars and Earth. Commander Vexthal watched his screens with growing confusion. His sensors were picking up hundreds of military installations across the human planet. The numbers did not make sense. No primitive world could support such a massive military force. "Run the scans again," Vexithal ordered his crew. "Check every system twice. These readings are impossible." Scout Captain Zarketh piloted the second ship closer to Earth's moon. His job was to get detailed information about human weapons and defenses. What he found made him question everything the Empire had told them about this species. "Commander, I am detecting energy shields around their major cities," Zarketh reported over the communication system. "These humans have defensive technology that rivals our own. This cannot be a primitive civilization." Vexithal felt a cold fear in his chest. The Empire had sent only 3 scout ships because they expected to find weak humans with simple weapons. If these readings were correct, they were badly outnumbered and outgunned. On Earth, Colonel Lisa Hayes sat in the underground command center reviewing reports from across the solar system. She had spent 15 years preparing for this moment. Every human military officer had trained for the day when aliens would come to their world. "Colonel, We have multiple contacts moving through our outer defense grid, reported Major Ryan Clark from his position at the tracking station. 3 ships, definitely not human design. They appear to be using some kind of stealth technology. Lisa nodded. The humans had expected alien visitors to have advanced technology. That was why. They had spent so many years preparing. Earth's defenses were designed to fight enemies with superior technology. Activate the sensor network, Lisa ordered. I want to know everything about these ships. Their speed, their weapons, their weak points. Everything. Across the Earth, hidden, sensor arrays began focusing on the alien ships. These sensors had been built specifically to detect cloaked vessels. Human scientists had worked for decades to develop technology that could see through alien stealth systems. Lieutenant Kevin Torres continued his patrol near the moon in his fighter aircraft. His instruments were now clearly showing the alien ships. They appeared as ghostly images on his screen, flickering in and out of visibility. Control, this is Recon 7, Kevin radioed back to Earth. I have visual confirmation on 3 alien vessels. They are definitely using cloaking technology, but our new sensors can track them. The news quickly reached General Nathan Brooks in the main command center. He had been waiting for this moment his entire career. The alien threat that Earth had been preparing for was finally here. All stations, this is command. Nathan spoke into his communication system. We have confirmed alien contact. Begin Phase 3 of the defense protocol. Repeat, this is not a drill. The Zephyrian scouts moved, closer to Earth. Still believing they were invisible to human detection, Commander Vexthal ordered his ships to begin detailed scans of human military installations. What they found shocked them beyond belief. The humans had military bases on every continent. Their armies numbered in the millions. Their naval fleets covered the oceans. Their air forces filled the skies. The amount of military hardware was staggering. Commander, these numbers cannot be real, reported his weapons officer. No single planet could maintain armies this large. They would need the resources of an entire star system. But the scans were accurate. Earth had indeed built the largest military force in the galaxy. Every nation on the planet had contributed soldiers, weapons, and resources to the common defense. They had been preparing for alien invasion for over 20 years. Admiral Susan Parker stood on the bridge of the battleship hidden behind Earth's moon. Her ship was one of 50 capital vessels that had been constructed in secret over the past decade. Each ship was armed with weapons designed specifically to fight alien technology. Admiral, we are receiving orders to move to combat positions, reported her tactical officer. The alien scouts are approaching Earth. Susan had trained her entire life for this battle. She knew that the aliens expected to find weak humans with primitive weapons. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Signal the fleet, Susan ordered. All ships move to intercept positions. It is time to show these visitors what humans are capable of. The Zephyrian scouts suddenly found themselves surrounded by human warships that seemed to appear from nowhere. Ships emerged from behind asteroids, from hidden bases on moons, and from the shadows of planets. The humans had been waiting for them. Commander, we are detecting massive energy signatures all around us, Zarketh reported in panic. Human warships are appearing everywhere. How is this possible? Vexthal stared at his screens in disbelief. Dozens of human ships were now visible, and more were appearing every minute. These were not primitive vessels. They were advanced warships armed with weapons that could threaten even Zephyrian technology. Dr. Eric Johnson worked frantically in his laboratory beneath the Earth's surface. He was the lead scientist on the human military's most secret project, weapons designed to fight alien invaders. For 10 years, he had been developing technology that could penetrate alien shields and armor. Colonel Roberts, the new weapons are ready for deployment, Eric reported to his military liaison. Our particle cannons should be able to damage alien hulls, and our quantum torpedoes can track cloaked ships. Colonel Michelle Roberts had been working with Eric's team to integrate the new weapons into Earth's defense systems. Every human warship was now equipped with technology designed specifically to fight aliens. Deploy the weapons to all fleet commanders, Michelle ordered. It is time to test our theories in actual combat. The alien scouts found themselves facing a level of human preparation that they had never imagined possible. Every move they made was tracked by human sensors. Every position they took was covered by human weapons. They were trapped in a web of defensive systems that spanned the entire solar system. "Commander, we need to retreat immediately," urged Zarketh. "We are outnumbered by more than 10 to 1. These humans have been preparing for war." But Vexthal was too shocked to respond. Everything the Empire had told them about humans was wrong. They were not primitive. They were not weak. They were a military power that rivaled the Empire itself. Captain Jake Morrison watched from his station on Mars as human ships moved into attack formations around the alien scouts. He had spent years monitoring deep space, waiting for this moment. Now that it had arrived, he felt a mixture of fear and pride. "Lieutenant Foster, signal Earth Command," Jake ordered. "Tell them the trap is working perfectly. The aliens are exactly where we want them." Amy Foster sent the message with steady hands despite her nervousness. She had trained for this situation, but actually facing alien invaders was different from any simulation. The human fleet continued to grow as more ships emerged from hidden positions throughout the solar system. The aliens found themselves facing not just Earth's defenses, but a coordinated military force that had been planning this encounter for decades. Commander Vexthal finally understood the terrible truth. The humans had not been surprised by their arrival. They had been expecting it. Every defensive position, every weapon, every ship had been placed specifically to trap alien scouts. "All ships prepare for emergency jump to hyperspace," Vexthal ordered. "We must escape and warn the Empire. These humans are not what we expected." But as the alien ships prepared to flee, they discovered that the humans had one more surprise waiting for them. The entire solar system was surrounded by devices that could disrupt hyperspace travel. The aliens were trapped, with no way to escape the human fleet that was closing in around them. Commander Vexthal stared at his screens in complete shock. The human fleet surrounding his 3 scout ships was massive beyond anything he had ever seen. Battleships the size of space stations emerged from behind asteroids. Carrier vessels released swarms of fighter craft. Destroyer squadrons moved into attack formations with military precision that impressed even the veteran Zephyrian commander. "This is impossible," whispered Scout Captain Zarketh over the communication channel. "How did a primitive species build such a fleet? Our intelligence reports said they barely had space travel. The alien scouts had expected to find humans with simple rockets and basic weapons. Instead, they faced a military force that seemed to have been preparing for interstellar war for generations. Every ship in the human fleet was armed with advanced weapons and protected by energy shields. Admiral Susan Parker stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching as more human vessels joined the formation around the trapped alien scouts. She had been waiting 15 years for this moment. Earth's secret military buildup was finally being revealed to an alien enemy. "Admiral, all fleet units are in position," reported her tactical officer. "We have the alien ships completely surrounded. They cannot escape without going through our battle line." Susan nodded with satisfaction. The human fleet consisted of over 200 warships, each one designed specifically to fight alien technology. They had trained for years to work together as a coordinated fighting force. "Signal all ships," Susan ordered. "Maintain formation, but do not fire unless fired upon. We want these aliens to see exactly what they are facing." The Zephyrian scouts found themselves trapped in the center of a sphere of human warships. Everywhere they looked, they saw the barrels of weapons pointed at their ships. The humans had positioned their fleet with tactical skill that showed decades of planning and preparation. Dr. Eric Johnson monitored the situation from his underground laboratory. His experimental weapons were now deployed across the entire human fleet. Particle cannons that could penetrate alien armor, quantum torpedoes that could track cloaked ships, energy disruptors that could shut down alien systems. "Colonel Roberts, all weapon systems are showing green across the fleet," Eric reported. "If these aliens try to fight, they will discover that human technology is not as primitive as they thought." Colonel Michelle Roberts had spent 10 years integrating Eric's weapons into Earth's military forces. Every human soldier, every ship, every defense installation was equipped with technology designed to fight aliens. The years of preparation were about to be tested. All units report ready status, Michelle announced to the fleet commanders. Remember, we want to capture at least one alien ship intact. We need their technology and information about their empire. Commander Vexthal attempted to contact his home base, but discovered that human jamming systems were blocking all long-range communications. The aliens were completely cut off from the Zephyrian Empire. No one would know what had happened to them. Commander, our hyperspace engines are not responding, reported his engineering officer. The humans have some kind of field generators that are preventing us from jumping to faster-than-light travel. Vexthal felt panic rising in his chest. Not only were they outnumbered and outgunned, but they were also trapped in the human solar system. The Empire had sent them on what was supposed to be a simple scouting mission, but they had walked into a carefully prepared trap. Lieutenant Commander Alex Turner led a squadron of advanced human fighters as they circled the alien ships. His pilots had trained for years to fight enemies with superior technology. They used tactics and weapons that took advantage of human creativity and adaptability. All pilots, maintain formation, Alex ordered over the radio. These aliens are about to learn that humans do not go down without a fight. The human fighters moved with precision and skill that impressed even the alien observers. Their ships were smaller than Zephyrian vessels, but they were faster and more maneuverable. Each fighter was armed with weapons that could damage alien hulls. Captain Jake Morrison watched the confrontation from his station orbiting Mars. The human fleet was performing exactly as planned. Every ship was in position. Every weapon was ready. Years of training and preparation had led to this moment. Lieutenant Foster, send a message to Earth Command, Jake ordered. Tell them that Phase 3 is complete. The aliens are trapped and surrounded. Amy Foster sent the message with pride in her voice. She had been part of the team that detected the alien scouts. Now she was watching as Earth's defenses proved their worth against an actual alien threat. General Nathan Brooks stood in the command center on Earth, watching reports come in from across the solar system. Human military forces that had been hidden for decades were now revealing themselves. Secret bases, hidden fleets, and experimental weapons were all being deployed for the first time. General, we are receiving surrender requests from one of the alien ship, reported Colonel Lisa Hayes. It appears they want to negotiate. Nathan had been preparing for this moment his entire career. The aliens had come expecting to find easy prey. Instead, they had discovered that humanity was ready for war on a scale they had never imagined. Tell them we will accept the surrender of all 3 ships, Nathan replied. But make it clear that we are in control here. They came to our system uninvited. Now they will face the consequences. Scout Captain Zarketh was the first to realize that continued resistance was hopeless. His ship was surrounded by dozens of human warships, each one capable of destroying his vessel. The humans had shown military organization and technological capability that rivaled the Zephyrian Empire. Commander Vexthal, we must surrender, Zarketh transmitted to the lead ship. We are completely outmatched. If we fight, we will all die here. But Vexthal was still struggling to accept the reality of the situation. The Empire had conquered 47 worlds using the same tactics they had used here. Send in scouts, assess the enemy's weakness, then attack with overwhelming force. But the humans had turned the tables completely. The human fleet began moving closer to the alien ships. Admiral Susan Parker ordered her vessels to maintain weapons lock on all 3 alien ships while keeping their own defenses at maximum power. The aliens were learning that humans took no chances when dealing with potential threats. This is Admiral Susan Parker of the United Earth Defense Force. Susan broadcast on all frequencies. You have entered our solar system without permission and with hostile intent. You will surrender your ships immediately or face the consequences. The message was transmitted in multiple languages, including basic Zephyrian that human intelligence had learned from intercepted alien communications. The humans had been studying their potential enemies for years, learning everything they could about alien technology and culture. Commander Vexthal finally understood that resistance was futile. The human fleet was too large, too well organized, and too well armed. His 3 scout ships could not fight their way through hundreds of enemy vessels. The Empire had made a terrible mistake in underestimating this species. All ships power down weapons and prepare for surrender, Vexithal ordered with defeat in his voice. We have no choice. The humans have us completely outmatched. As the alien ships began shutting down their weapon systems, human boarding parties prepared to take control of the vessels. Colonel Michelle Roberts led the teams that would secure the alien ships and capture their crews for interrogation. The first phase of humanity's first interstellar conflict was ending in complete victory for Earth's forces. The aliens who had come expecting to find primitive prey had instead discovered a military power that had been preparing for this exact encounter for over 20 years. The Zephyrian scouts were about to learn that humanity's reputation for being unpredictable and dangerous was well-deserved. They had walked into a trap that would give Earth its first look at alien technology and its first prisoners from beyond the stars. The captured Zephyrian scouts found themselves aboard human vessels, watching in amazement as the true scope of Earth's military preparation became clear. Commander Vexthal sat in a holding cell aboard Admiral Susan Parker's flagship, staring through the viewport at an endless stream of human warships moving through space. How many ships do you humans have? Vexthal asked his guard, Lieutenant Commander Alex Turner. Alex smiled grimly. More than you can count. We have been building ships for 20 years, preparing for visitors like you. Through the viewport, Vexthal could see massive battleships that dwarfed his own scout vessels. Carrier ships launched squadrons of fighters that filled space like swarms of metal insects. Transport vessels moved supplies and reinforcements to defensive positions throughout the solar system. On Earth, General Christopher Lee stood before a holographic display showing military forces across the planet. The numbers were staggering even by human standards. Over 300 million soldiers stood ready for combat. Tank divisions numbered in the tens of thousands. Artillery batteries covered every continent. General, all ground forces report. Ready status, Colonel Benjamin Hayes reported. Every major city has multiple defensive rings. Every strategic location is fortified and defended. Christopher nodded with satisfaction. The human military had been building these forces in secret for decades. Underground factories had produced weapons and equipment. Hidden training camps had prepared soldiers for alien warfare. Secret research facilities had developed new technologies. Scout Captain Zarketh was being held on a different human ship, where he watched through the windows as human military installations revealed themselves throughout the solar system. Asteroid mining stations opened to reveal missile batteries. Seemingly empty moons split apart to show hidden naval bases. This is impossible, Zarketh whispered to his human captor, Major Sandra Mills. No single species could build military forces this large. You would need the resources of dozens of worlds, Sandra laughed. You underestimated human determination. When we decide to prepare for war, we do it properly. Every nation on Earth contributed to this effort. The truth was even more impressive than the aliens realized. Humans had not just built weapons and ships. They had completely reorganized their entire civilization around the possibility of alien invasion. Every factory could be converted to military production. Every civilian could be trained as a soldier. Every resource could be directed toward defense. Admiral Patricia Stone commanded the naval forces patrolling the outer solar system. Her fleets included over 2,000 warships, from massive dreadnoughts to fast attack craft. Each ship was crewed by sailors who had trained their entire careers for interstellar combat. Admiral, long-range sensors are detecting additional human forces moving toward our position, reported her tactical officer. It appears there are secret bases throughout this entire star system. Patricia smiled. The aliens were seeing only a fraction of Earth's true military capability. Hidden bases on distant asteroids, secret shipyards behind gas-giant moons, and camouflaged installations on barren planets were all revealing themselves for the first time. Dr. Eric Johnson arrived at the detention facility where the alien prisoners were being held. He carried scanner equipment designed to study alien technology and biology. The captured scouts would provide invaluable information about the Zephyrian Empire. Colonel Roberts, I need to examine their equipment, Eric told his military liaison. Their ships, their weapons, their communication devices. Everything they have could help us understand what we are facing. Colonel Michelle Roberts had already secured the alien vessels and was cataloging their technology. The human military wanted to learn everything possible about their potential enemies. Every piece of alien equipment was being studied and analyzed. The alien prisoners were amazed by the level of human organization and preparation. Lieutenant Commander Alex Turner explained to Commander Vexthal how Earth's military had been developed over 2 decades of secret planning. "We knew that someday aliens would come to our world," Alex said. "We could have hoped for peaceful contact, but we prepared for war. Every human government worked together to build the largest military force in our history." Vexthal was beginning to understand the magnitude of human preparation. This was not a primitive species that had accidentally developed advanced weapons. This was a civilization that had deliberately transformed itself into a military power capable of fighting interstellar wars. Captain Jake Morrison received orders to join the fleet operations around Earth. His Mars station was being converted into a forward command post for monitoring alien activity throughout the galaxy. The humans were preparing not just to defend their world, but to take the fight to their enemies. "Lieutenant Foster, prepare the station for expanded operations," Jake ordered. "We are going to be the first line of defense against any additional alien forces." Amy Foster began activating systems that had been hidden throughout the Mars station: secret weapons, advanced sensors, and communication arrays that could coordinate with fleets across multiple star systems. The station was far more than it appeared to be. General Nathan Brooks stood in the main command center on Earth, coordinating military operations across the entire solar system. Reports were coming in from hundreds of bases and thousands of ships. The scale of the operation was beyond anything in human history. "General, we are receiving intelligence reports from the interrogation of alien prisoners," reported Colonel Lisa Hayes. "It appears their empire has been expanding across the galaxy for centuries. They have conquered dozens of civilizations." Nathan studied the information with growing concern. The Zephyrian Empire was much larger than Earth's intelligence had estimated. But the aliens had made one critical mistake. They had underestimated human military capability and determination. The captured alien technology was revealing important information about Zephyrian capabilities. Their ships were advanced but not invincible. Their weapons were powerful but not unstoppable. Most importantly, their military doctrine was based on fighting primitive enemies who could not fight back effectively. Major Ryan Clark worked with intelligence teams to analyze alien communication intercepts. The humans had been monitoring Zephyrian transmissions for months, learning about their military organization and strategic plans. "Colonel Hayes, the aliens appear to be expecting these scout ships to report back within days," Ryan reported. "When they do not return, the Empire will know something has gone wrong." This information was crucial for human military planning. Earth's forces needed to be ready for a possible alien invasion fleet that would come looking for the missing scouts. The element of surprise would not last forever. Commander Vexthal was brought to a conference room where human military leaders questioned him about the Zephyrian Empire. Admiral Susan Parker, General Christopher Lee, and other senior officers wanted to know everything about alien military capabilities. "How many ships does your empire have?" Admiral Parker asked directly. "How many worlds have you conquered? What are your military capabilities?" Vexthal looked around the room at the human officers. These were not primitive beings who could be easily intimidated. They were professional military commanders who had spent years preparing for exactly this situation. "You do not understand what you are facing," Vexthal said quietly. "The Zephyrian Empire controls hundreds of worlds. Our fleets number in the thousands. You cannot fight us all." General Lee leaned forward. "You also did not understand what you were facing when you came here. You expected to find weak humans with primitive weapons. Instead, you found a military force that captured your ships without losing a single vessel." The interrogation continued. As human intelligence officers gathered information about alien technology, military organization, and strategic capabilities. Every piece of information would be used to prepare Earth's defenses for the larger conflict that was surely coming. The alien scouts were learning that humans were unlike any species the Zephyrian Empire had encountered before. Earth had not just built weapons to defend itself. It had created an entire military civilization dedicated to fighting and winning interstellar wars. As reports continued to flow in from across the solar system, it became clear that the human military buildup was even larger than the aliens had realized. Secret installations were revealing themselves on every world, every moon, and every asteroid that could support a military base. Commander Vexthal sat in his detention cell, watching the endless parade of human warships through the viewport. Admiral Susan Parker had deliberately placed the alien prisoners where they could see the true scale of Earth's military forces. The psychological impact was exactly what the humans intended. "Your leaders need to understand what they are facing," Admiral Parker told Vexthal during one of their interrogation sessions. "We are going to release one of your ships to carry a message back to your empire." Vexthal looked at the human admiral with surprise. "You would let us go? Why would you give up such an advantage?" Susan smiled coldly. "Because we want your empire to know exactly what happened here. We want them to understand that Earth is not a primitive world waiting to be conquered." The decision to release one alien ship had been made at the highest levels of human government. President Victoria Anderson and Secretary of Defense Kenneth Porter had met with military leaders to discuss the strategic implications of first contact with an alien empire. "We need to send a message that will prevent a larger war if possible," President Anderson had said during the emergency meeting, "but we also need to show strength. The aliens must understand that attacking Earth would be a mistake." Fleet Admiral Daniel Wright was chosen to oversee the release of Scout Captain Zarketh and his ship. The operation would be carefully planned to maximize the psychological impact on the Zephyrian Empire while gathering intelligence about alien technology and capabilities. "Captain Zarketh, you will be released to return to your empire," Admiral Wright informed the alien prisoner. "But you will carry a message from the people of Earth to your leaders." Zarketh was escorted to his ship, which had been thoroughly examined by human scientists and engineers. Dr. Eric Johnson's team had learned valuable information about alien technology while preparing the vessel for its journey home. "We have placed monitoring devices aboard the ship," Dr. Johnson explained to Colonel Michelle Roberts. "We will be able to track its movements and intercept its communications. This will give us intelligence about alien space routes and military bases." The alien ship was escorted to the edge of the solar system by a formation of human warships. The escort fleet was deliberately chosen to include the most impressive vessels in Earth's military: massive battleships, advanced carriers, and experimental cruisers that demonstrated human technological capabilities. General Rebecca Price commanded the ground forces that had been mobilized across Earth during the alien contact. Over 400 million soldiers were now ready for combat, supported by tank divisions, artillery units, and Air Force squadrons that covered every continent. "General, all forces remain at maximum readiness," reported Colonel Benjamin Hayes. "If the aliens return with an invasion fleet, we will be prepared to defend every inch of our world." Rebecca nodded with satisfaction. The human military had revealed only a fraction of its true capabilities to the alien scouts. Hidden deep underground were weapons and defenses that the aliens had never seen. Earth was prepared for a war that could last for years. As Zarketh's ship prepared to depart, he was given a final message to deliver to the Zephyrian Empire. The message had been carefully crafted by human diplomats and military leaders to convey both strength and a warning about the consequences of attacking Earth. "Tell your leaders that Earth welcomes peaceful contact with other civilizations," Admiral Wright transmitted to the alien ship, "but also tell them that we are prepared to defend ourselves against any aggression. Your scout mission has failed because we were ready for you." The alien ship engaged its hyperspace drive and disappeared into the void, carrying news that would shock the Zephyrian Empire. Zarketh had seen enough of human military power to know that his people had seriously underestimated this species. Commander Vexthal and the crew of the other two alien ships remained as prisoners aboard human vessels. They would be interrogated extensively to provide intelligence about the Zephyrian Empire's military organization, technology, and strategic plans. "You have made a terrible mistake," Vexthal told his human captors. "The Empire will not ignore the capture of our ships. They will send fleets to punish you for this act of aggression." Major Sandra Mills, who was in charge of the alien detention facility, laughed at the threat. "Your ships entered our space without permission and with hostile intent. We defended ourselves. If your empire wants a war, we are ready for one." Human military was indeed preparing for the possibility of a larger conflict. Intelligence reports suggested that the Zephyrian Empire controlled hundreds of worlds and commanded fleets of thousands of ships, but Earth's leaders were confident that their preparations would be sufficient to defend their world. Lieutenant Commander Alex Turner was assigned to study the captured alien technology alongside Dr. Eric Johnson's research teams. The alien ships contained advanced systems that could help improve human military capabilities. "The alien shields are impressive, but they have weaknesses," Alex reported to his superiors. "Our quantum weapons can penetrate their defenses. Their armor is strong, but our particle cannons can damage it." This information was crucial for preparing Earth's forces for future conflicts. The humans now knew that they could fight alien technology effectively. Their years of preparation and research had paid off in developing weapons that could challenge even advanced alien systems. Captain Jake Morrison continued monitoring deep space from his station orbiting Mars. The human sensor network was now focused on detecting any additional alien ships that might approach the solar system. Earth wanted advance warning of any invasion fleet. "Lieutenant Foster, expand the sensor grid to maximum range," Jake ordered. "I want to detect alien ships before they reach the outer planets." Amy Foster activated sensor arrays that had been hidden throughout the solar system. The network now extended far beyond Earth's solar system, using advanced technology that could detect ships traveling at faster-than-light speeds. General Nathan Brooks stood in the command center on Earth, reviewing reports from across the galaxy. Human intelligence was now actively monitoring alien communication networks, learning about the Zephyrian Empire's reaction to the failed scout mission. "General, we are intercepting increased alien military communications," reported Colonel Lisa Hayes. "It appears the Empire is mobilizing additional forces. They may be preparing for a retaliatory strike." Nathan had expected this development. The Zephyrian Empire would not accept the loss of their scout ships without response. But he was confident that Earth's defenses could handle whatever the aliens sent against them. As Zarketh's ship traveled through hyperspace towards Zephyrian space, the alien scout prepared his report for the Empire's military leaders. He knew that his news would shock the Imperial command and force them to reconsider their expansion plans. The Zephyrian Empire had conquered dozens of worlds using the same tactics they had tried against Earth. Send scouts to assess the enemy, then attack with overwhelming force against primitive civilizations that could not fight back effectively. But Earth had proven to be completely different. When Zarketh finally reached the Imperial capital, his report caused chaos among the Zephyrian military leadership. The idea that a single world could field military forces capable of capturing Imperial scout ships was almost impossible to believe. "This report cannot be accurate," declared the Imperial War Minister. "No primitive species could build such extensive military forces." But Zarketh had seen the human fleet with his own eyes. He had witnessed the scale of Earth's military preparation and the advanced technology of their weapons. The humans were not a primitive species waiting to be conquered. The Zephyrian Empire now faced a difficult decision. They could ignore the human threat and focus on easier targets, or they could commit significant military resources to conquering a world that had proven capable of defending itself effectively. Meanwhile, on Earth, human military leaders prepared for whatever decision the aliens might make. The planet was now defended by the largest military force in human history, supported by technology specifically designed to fight interstellar wars. The first contact between humans and aliens had ended with Earth demonstrating that humanity was not easy prey. The galaxy would never be the same, and the Zephyrian Empire would have to decide whether they wanted to test human resolve further.